Fellas, I'm not gonna lie with you. I kind of hated my episode I recorded yesterday. Not only when I was recording it did I feel rambly, but it sounded rambly. I was in the middle of the workday, and obviously it didn't focus. I had my mind elsewhere, and it just clearly showed in yesterday's video. So I'm gonna redo it today. Try to talk proper English, but I'm not a perfect person. I'll be trying my best, but yeah, I think anything I record today is going to be better than yesterday's video because I'm doing it before the workday starts, and hopefully everything gets situated and it just sounds way better. So, what's going on, boys? And welcome back to the weekly recap. This is the week 16 edition, round two of the fantasy playoffs or the semifinals, whichever you prefer, have commenced. So, let's review what we have here. The final four has turned into the final two. The first person to punch your ticket is me. I did it, boys. I made it to the championship. I beat Josh in a I was going to say very close game. In a very hard fought game. We could say that at least. Um where to start with this matchup? We'll go over my winning team. Jordan Love, great game against Carolina. They almost blew it, but they win by 3. Jordan Love gets a rushing touchdown in there. I think one passing touchdown as well. Just want to review that. Oh no, two B's. Two B's. Yeah, so 3 total touchdowns. Jordan Love looked great. I love to see that. Kyra Williams is just that's the player that's like, if I have one stud on my team, it's this guy. Missed you for 6 weeks. Upon your return, you've been everything I've wanted you to be. Thank you so much, Daddy Gyron. Calvin Ridley has been bipolar for me this year. Probably my best fantasy performer on the field Sunday. It didn't look good. They were getting blown out early. Trevor Lawrence had 2 picks early, but then out of nowhere, Calvin gets it going with CJ Beathard. You're like, oh, interesting. Okay. But you see a 23-point game here. He's still wide receiver 22 because he did have 3 games of just duds prior. And this is with like 13 targets, 12 targets. He got 9. Those are worse targeted games, but better outcome, 2 tuds. My first round pick, Devontae Adams. I debate you every week. On the bye week, he gets a 20. And on the week we're in the playoffs, he gets a .9. So some real some real conversations I have to have going forward. We'll see what I decide. But yeah, I still win by 32. And it's mostly on the back of Josh not really having that huge performance. Now, Saquon Barkley, Rashad White, Tua, and maybe AJ Brown have great games or good games, I'll say. But James Cook, someone who was his hero last week, gets him 5 instead of 35. Jordan Addison, someone who he didn't start last week, gets 26 last week to a .7. Now, no, he did get injured. It's not just one for one. He played the full game. You see George Pickens on his bench. When he loses by 32, and you see like a 32-point swing in the trade of Pickens and Addison in the lineup, you actually get the context of looking at Pickens basically the last 8 weeks and being like, yeah, there's no way I played this guy in the playoffs. So I want to beat myself up over that decision, uh, in my opinion. But that's enough for the dub for me. I am a little worried because if you look at my bench, my bench didn't look that good. And it might be worse. Sam Howell is for sure done. Brian Robinson and Christian Watson both have hamstrings. Those tend to linger. Don't know what's going on with that. Alexander Madison got 2 carries for -1 yards. He might be done for me. Might be. I 100% already dropped him. So Um, the starters might be the starters for sure. So these people I debate, like Devontae Adams, is Jerry Judy gonna get the start over him? Absolutely not. So yeah, there's that. I still like the win. Don't get me wrong. being in a fantasy championship is crazy. But when I look at when I look at the other person's team, I get a little nervous, and I'll discuss that in a second. The other person to meet me in the final is Finn. He beats Phil by seems like 22.05. And yeah, this loss is pretty devastating to Phil because he could have got it in a lot of other ways. To talk about the good in Phil's lineup, Justin Jefferson, since his return, has his best game. They lose against Detroit, but Justin looked phenomenal, had an insane catch in it. It looked like Justin Jefferson. You expect that, the 1-1 overall when you draft him. Derrick Henry, since acquiring him in that Devon trade, has been nothing but a fucking stud for Phil. They lose too, but again, you can't stop King Henry. David Montgomery is a touchdown machine. He'll never not be a touchdown machine. How many on the year? 11? Yeah. Yeah, David Montgomery is a beast. Jalen Hurts destroyed the Giants. But here's the issue. Cortland Sutton again injured. It's not just like he stunk. He got injured. So it's just a little bit more unfortunate. It also doesn't help when you lose by, 22.05 when the trade-off is a wide receiver you drafted in the second round, right? Yeah, you drafted in the second round that gets 22 and a half, and that's enough that would have got you to win. Oh, you wouldn't have done that because Cortland's been a touchdown machine, right? Well, what about Booker, who's kind of had like meh weeks for Jason Saunders, who has a legendary performance, 350 plus yard kicks made. Yeah, and that gets him the win. The, the switch off of kickers also gets him the win. And just to add insult to injury, his defense got -3. He has two defenses on the bench that would have got him a 15 and 10 point swing since the Chargers got 7 and the Ravens got 12. Again, you're not upset with this decision because the 49ers are a hard offense. The Buffalo Bills are a tough offense. The Colts have been, I think, top 10 on the year. They're playing a struggling offense in Atlanta. So all these things make sense, but in hindsight, it just kills you looking at stuff like that, man. It's a tough loss. Phil, what a bounce back since your own 14 season. Um, a few decisions away from the championship. So, don't beat yourself up. You're still competing for the third place prize. But damn, that is a tough loss to take. It really is. All right. So those were the two semifinal matches. Our final four goes to a final two. Um, Before we exactly recap the we preview the championship. Let's preview the third place matchup. So we have Josh v. Phil. This matchup is in favor of Phil, and it's actually with this year's win that gets him the edge in the head to head. Phil, who has a better team? I was going to say Phil has the better team, but it is tight. It is tight. Overall, I do genuinely think that Phil has the better team. If you start T. Higgins and yeah, switch out Hawkinson. Do you have another tight end? You probably don't. You do, Tyler Conklin. Okay. So yeah, TJ Hawkinson, get him out of there. Head to head goes to Phil. Team, I also give Phil. I give the edge to Phil. To remind people, the third place pie is just your money back plus $10 off anyone you outscore in the championship. So a 50 piece could be 70 if you outscore both championship players. Now, let's preview the championship game. Finn and I have played twice this year, and we've traded. Prior to my last matchup with Finn, He had won four straight, and I won a vital Week 13 matchup. I'm pretty sure if I lose that matchup, I don't make the playoffs. I'm pretty positive of that. So, and you win by 1 point exactly. So it's a close fucking game. Yeah, this one's gonna be a freaking doozy. Both of those games are close games. Where I'm scared when I look at Finn's team is just the amount of absolute studs he has on this year's roster. Christian McCaffrey, running back one. Raheem Mostert, running back two. Okay, that's a new definition of an RB2. His RB2 is the running back two. His RB1 is the running back one. Those are huge issues. Mike Evans, absolute stud this year. Way better than any of the receivers I drafted. I drafted Devontae Adams and Calvin Ridley way prior to Mike Evans being drafted, and it's not paying out, is what I'm seeing here. He also has like Cole Kmet coming in here. That's a top 10 tight end. He's got the Chiefs defense, who's been a top defense on the year against Cincy, who didn't really look that good. Jake Elliott, kicker three. Lamar Jackson, quarterback four. Yeah, just the amount of sheer studs on Finn's team is what I get nervous about. When you look at my team, it looks a little ragtag. Jordan Love, although quarterback six on the year, um, it's been his consistency that got him up there. Early on, he wasn't really up. He wasn't really like that, but then now he's been getting these 20 pluses pretty consistently. I've become a big fan of Jordan Love. My actual stud is Kyron, and he's projected that way. 19 points projected against the New York Football Giants. Um, but that's about it when it goes to studs on my team. Isaiah Pacheco looks really good. He'll never get like an insane amount of opportunities. 11 carries last week. His worst efficiency game on the season. Um, Also, four catches for no yards. That's another thing that happened to him last week, and he's concussed. So we'll see. Hopefully, he's able to play, but I am worried. The head-to-head is given to me, but barely. Finn, with a win streak, tied it up. I was able to get the edge with our matchup in week 13, but yeah, I don't know. Lineup wise, I think Finn's got it, but you never know. I This ragtag team has somehow pulled out the comeback of dreams. Have won five straight, at least 7 weeks of 100 plus. The team gets it done, and it's not always the same people. Kyron and someone else. I do well. Kyron is the same person, but we get our points from various areas on this team. It's not always the same guys every week. So I do hope this team gets it done, man. A second ring would be nice. Although I'd not like to lose to Finn. I am happy that worst case scenario, if I do lose, we have another new champion. Um, Champions have actually been trading off a lot in recent years. There was me, there was Vinny, there was Brian in these recent years. We haven't had a back to back since Austin's a repeat since Austin. So that is a plus. Yeah, hopefully I win this. I did have a trade analysis, but it's not quite done. I'll do that more tomorrow and include it in the next video. But I have been looking at our trades and seeing the winners and losers of all of them. We'll see who won each trade actually, because even that update I posted week 11, a lot of that has changed with how the season ended. So I am curious to see how Devin's trades actually fared. They looked really good for him at the beginning, but in my opinion, I don't think they closed very hot. All right, boys. That's all I had for you today. I'll see you next week, and now 6 days from now because this is the day after I usually post. But I appreciate y'all, and I will talk to y'all next week. All right.